Hi guys, Jake and MJ, back again for more live reactions to Power Rangers Beast Morphers. And we throw them away. There we go.
We're really making a habit out of the whole narrating the throwing thing, aren't we?
Only for like the last 40 of these. Well, 39. Since this is our 39th episode of Beast Morphers. So it's been a little bit of a hectic, crazy weekend, I think, for a lot of people. This is Labor Day weekend, and it has been the weekend of the Viewing Globe. Which has been quite an...
We're probably running up against right now.
We are currently running up against the Viewing Globe. One of the hilarious things is that actually, right now, there is a watch-along of an episode with the Sudarso brothers.
Oh, well, we can't compete with that.
So we are competing in terms of live reacting with the Sudarsos. So if you know, we have a bit of a smaller group tonight, I do not blame you.
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good.
Yep.
For those who are asking.
Yes, the new shirt for today.
Oh, yes.
Is
waiting for player number 3.
There we go. Player number 3 coming this December. So we're all looking forward to that.
Yes, Oliver. Yes, you can come up. There's space between us.
Yep.
You cannot come up on my lap right now.
Come on, buddy. No.
No.
Okay.
He's not into it.
So.
All of the chat. I'll just talk.
For the Viewing Globe, I have made quite a few contributions, as many of you may have noticed if you have been watching.
He's going up the side.
I've been doing, I made
a lot of interstitials.
I made a ton of trivia interstitials. Basically, there should be a trivia question from me every hour on the hour. For, well, maybe not exactly on the hour, but bookending each hour-long event.
Oh, nice.
Is sometimes
I love
Lego
minifigures. Sure,
Mm.
I got new minifigures. How do we think the cats will react to the baby? We don't know.
Hopefully well. We don't know yet.
We don't know.
So we're keeping our fingers crossed that everything goes smoothly there. I'm going to pop this pillow back here. I've been hard at work on episode 90, which has been difficult since I also, you know, jumped in
all
on
those interstitials for the Viewing Globe.
For the Viewing Globe. And there is also a special Power Reviews related video that will be somewhere in the Viewing Globe, just not quite sure exactly when. I don't know.
It's not one of the scheduled ones, it's one of those shorter ones that
yeah.
slot in between.
There's a little like 10-minute video. Aw, hey Allie. How you doing, little fluff? Hey, you can come on up in here, it's okay.
He's a good boy.
So keep your eyes open for that. I don't know if it'll be appearing tonight or tomorrow. Probably tomorrow, since it was a little bit of a later submission.
I feel like our camera's tilted up further than usual, and I'm basing that on the fact that you can barely see the top of Oliver's head.
Oh, like this there? There we go. That's hopefully a little bit. Maybe too much. There we go. So there's been plenty going on this weekend with various fan panels and interviews and just a showcase of content. How long did it take to film all that stuff?
Oh, for the Viewing Globe?
For the Viewing Globe,
filming wasn't as long as writing.
Filming was pretty quick, because filming was like, you know, they're like 30-second chunks. So I'd say for all 3 days put together, maybe about 45 minutes. But it took me a couple of hours to write up all of the different questions, because that was 30 different...
And then you had to edit them.
Yeah,
because those were all recorded in front of a green screen.
Yeah, there were like 30 different questions, and each one had the intro to the event, and I had to come up with a little statement. I had to figure out what questions would be appropriate for the event.
Relevant to the event.
And I wanted to... And there were a few things that I had to do some research on, because... not every event was on something that was within my areas of expertise.
You mean some of them might have been about, like, Kamen Rider?
There was stuff on, like, Kamen Rider, video games, fan films that I was not super familiar with, so I had to research it a little bit. And that, adds some time to things.
Oliver Devious says hello.
As well as just like, okay, this one's like about music. Like, I'm very good with facts from the show itself, but like actors' careers outside of the show or other periphery materials, I'm not as intuitively knowledgeable in. So it took a little bit of extra work on that front.
Yes.
And then it took a couple hours to edit for each day, because
you good, Spencer? We haven't even got to the 3 phrases yet.
I had to insert the text and the title card and the green screen and transitions, for 60 different little videos. So it's just a time sink. So what are our hopes for Dino Fury? I hope that it's good. That's the main hope. Honestly, I don't know. It's really hard to say at this stage what I'm really looking for, outside of just a continued evolution of the writer's skills, which I feel like we've been seeing throughout Beast Morphers. I felt like Dino Charge was very much Chip Lynn's season. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then
that was his.
And then Becca and Alwyn got to take the reins, I think, a little bit more in Ninja Steel, and it was a little rough around the edges. And then Beast Morphers, I feel like they're coming into their own and really solidifying their work, and it's all good stuff. So speaking of Beast Morphers, before we dive into our live reactions to Beast Morphers, let's have our 3 kickoff phrases. So say them with me in the chat. Number 1. Black Lives Matter. Number 2. Fascism is bad. And number 3. Superheroes are fun. So, thank you to those of you in the chat who joined in with us on that. And with that, let's kick things off with episode 39 of Power Rangers Beast Morphers, Goin Ape. AKA the episode we almost played last time.
Yes.
Hello, little old lady. How are you?
What have we got here?
Other people's stuff, little old lady. Don't go through it. Oh.
Why are you taking it? That's just weird.
He's wearing the same outfit that he's wearing right now.
I mean, that is a common outfit for him. Okay, you're still a little overly familiar for
you
absolute
can't
thing.
just take other people's portfolios and start going through them.
Have a great day.
You left the portfolio.
Happy anniversary.
Aww, that's sweet.
But
you left.
That present was for Roxy too.
Wait. Fiddlesticks.
Fiddlesticks indeed.
Oh, Robbie Shaw.
Oh, his phone number is on there. That's convenient.
I hope that's a phone number.
It looked like a phone number. There was a 555 in the middle of it.
Fantastic. Fetch me the details. Robbie, over here.
Hey, Roxy, you exist. It's nice to see you exist.
Real Roxy.
Yeah.
Hey, Roxy.
It's been a while.
Oh. Nobody. Sorry I'm late. It's okay.
It's been like 12 episodes.
Just don't do
We did ask for Roxy last episode.
It's true. Oh, that's wonderful. I'm so delighted to see regular Roxy. It's been far too long.
Oh, what's happening?
We're setting the scene.
Oh, okay. Wow, okay.
You guys are actually okay at playing trumpet.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
R&R.
It's always good to have a little R&R.
Robbie and Roxy.
Aww. That's sweet.
This way we keep the lives whenever we're apart.
Aww, that's sweet.
This is incredible. Thank you.
Aww. They're so cute.
Intern, what did you get me this year?
It's...
A painting that I left at the bus stop.
Please stop.
Well,
Please, now is not the time. Guys, not the time. Not the time.
But I will. I just don't have it right now.
What? Dudes, that's not cool. Don't do that.
I promise, I have something really special for you. You'll get it soon. It's a surprise.
Okay.
Hey, how about I go get us some smoothies?
I feel like taking away...
Now she's gonna text his phone.
Oh, is she gonna think that he's, like, cheating on her with the old
Yes.
lady?
Yes,
It's gonna be
she
so
is.
weird.
Not the time, not the time. You
Also-
activated teacher mode there, says the chat.
This painting is a wonderful gift. Stacy, Stacy.
Also...
Really special.
Oh, my God.
That's a strawberry.
Good. What flavor does Stacy like?
Excuse me?
Who is she, and why are you surprising her with one of your paintings?
Have you been snooping through my phone?
That is a little uncalled for.
I just checked because apparently someone can't stop texting you. Is there another girl I should know about?
No, it's an
Another
old
girl?
lady.
You can't be serious.
I am. Unless you can explain who this Stacy is.
I can explain. You know what?
Shouldn't have to.
I shouldn't have to because you should trust me. Newsflash, you don't.
Oof. That got
Happy anniversary.
Right. See,
harsh.
he screwed up. He left the thing behind. He was distracted. But you don't go through your significant other's phone.
No. I mean, you know, there's situations where,
You
like,
might use their
I might
phone.
use the phone, but you don't go snooping.
Like, we know each other's phone unlocking passwords.
Yeah.
Master Evox. With my new upgrade,
How many old ladies know how to text? Have you met my grandma?
Those annoying rangers.
It's true. Then again, at our age, I think our moms are old ladies too, aren't they?
Ish, yeah.
Ish.
I won't let you down, Master.
Not old ladies like this old lady, but, you
The
know.
Blue Ranger will be the
And older people
Um,
actually can text. And some of them are a little dangerous about it because they fall for things they shouldn't fall for, and then
Like,
you get chain text
he should-
that someone texted your
You're not
grandma.
supposed to be out of the base.
He should...
Ben and Betty told me what happened with Roxy.
Hey, Peter.
I wanted to make sure you were
Aw.
okay.
Thanks. Was pretty bad.
Yeah, I can't blame you for losing track of time and being a little late here with everything else going on this weekend.
Yeah, like, you know,
Of course you
Game
are.
Globe.
Thought so too.
Alright.
But Roxy, she said some things and
Thank you.
Said some things.
I like the shirt.
Oh, Robo Roxy.
Hello, boys.
not another
Speaking of Roxy.
But she's an evil robot.
Yeah, we know she's an evil robot.
Enjoy it, Robbie. It'll be your last.
I got this, buddy. Just call the others for me, okay?
Ooh, stressing out about a car. Yeah,
Oh,
that's,
Robot. You need
that's
armor?
stressful.
It's about
That's
to get a
legit.
new dent in it. It's morphin' time.
We rely on our transportation so much.
Yep.
Activate.
Especially now that I'm going back to my long commute. Solo Morph! Oh, we get so few of those. Oh, it's so nice. Full screen, everything. I don't think we've seen that for Ravi before.
And it is nice to see Robbie and Smash having a moment. That's true, Spencer.
Yeah,
Was it really? Rotisserie says this is his first solo one.
I think so. Rangers, bow, wow, go, go, Power Rangers, bow, go, go, it's morphin' time. For justice we fight, with Beast Morph in mind, together we rise. Bow, wow, 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 wow. Go, go, Power Rangers, go, go, Power Rangers, Power Rangers Beast Morphers.
Your history, Blue.
Did you say something other than for justice?
I don't think so. For just us. Oh!
Okay, so we've had
This-
one for everybody but Steel now.
I believe so, yes. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to think about it.
According to the chat.
Okay.
They say we've had 4,
Yeah.
but we haven't had Steel.
You messed with the wrong guy today,
Oh wait,
robot.
just the core 3? And who got it twice?
Devin.
Devin? Devin had 2.
Nice. This was a very good fight in Go Busters, I remember.
Ouch.
These two had a solid back and forth rivalry.
What did I ever see in a hothead like you?
Technically nothing, because you're a robot, so you weren't the one who saw the things.
Roxy, so.
Now
Yeah.
it's time for me to destroy you.
Hey! Good to see you, Zoe.
Whee! I like the design on this shirt.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Are you okay?
the neck hole is huge.
What are you doing?
He's overheated. We're on it.
Oh no, it's overheated.
Yep. Which we haven't really addressed in a while.
Fine. I guess I don't care which ranger I destroy today.
Well, she's not picky. She can destroy any ranger. Is this the Megaforce speech?
I do believe it is the beach that you are thinking of.
Please, Robbie. You're
The beach
overheated.
they're thinking
If
of?
you relax,
Yep.
you'll cool down.
The beach that appeared frequently in Megaforce.
Seriously, dude, you gotta chill out.
Now he's going.
Nice sweeping shot there.
This is the same battle music from Beast King Rampage. Yes, exactly. My brain keeps getting out.
Jax, get the Trapezoid out here now.
Chopperzord. Ooh! Oof.
Might be even worse with a binder.
Nice.
Hmm.
Okay.
I can't wear that right now.
Sorry, Robbie. You leave me no choice. You're gonna have to cool off the hard way.
There we go.
What's the hard way?
Be careful.
Sending him into the ocean.
Well, the ocean.
Robbie. Zoe.
They'll be fine.
Yeah. Got the Chopperzord. Good job.
That was close. Jax, get them back to base.
Same.
I like how they kept that with a wide shot so you couldn't really see close up, because I'm pretty sure he was demorphed in that original footage. Nice.
How dare you? Just wait, Rangers. I'll be back.
She got away again. We'll worry about her later. We gotta check on Robbie. Yeah, come on. Just hold still. Can't believe that robot got away again.
He's getting fed up with
Don't worry.
Robo
It'll be next
Rexy.
time. Well, it's strange. Your body temperature is still running high even though you're no longer fighting. Don't worry about it.
It's because he's really pissed off about what Roxy did.
I don't know why you do it, but my parents stopped working.
Anything unusual happened? Don't ask me. Nate's the boy genius.
Yeah.
He's really
He's
on.
moody AF.
Smash asked me to come.
Yeah, I think you two really need to talk.
All I need from her is an apology.
Maybe, but first, I want an explanation. You said he was ready to explain.
Why can't you two just get along?
Because one of us doesn't trust the other.
Because you're keeping secrets from me.
Come on, guys. Calm
Well, it was
down.
supposed to be a
It's
surprise.
anniversary? You should be happy, right?
I don't want to talk about it. But you know what? You can keep this.
This is awkward and uncomfortable, and I don't like for them to be sad people.
I know they're trying to put this as like an equally bad.
Oh,
What's going on?
she's sad. She's so sad. She's very
Robbie's
upset.
been getting text messages from some girl named Stacy. And I think he gave her one of his paintings.
That doesn't sound like Robbie.
And when I asked him about it, he flipped.
Stacy. Who's Stacy? Hey guys, Bob's expecting this visitor. He just left.
Oh. Well, can you give him something for me?
Of course we can. I'll make sure he gets you. Thanks, man.
Oh, forget the man. Makes me feel so old. Just call me Stacy.
Wait, you're Stacy?
Yes, dear. Why'd you ask?
Have you been texting Robbie?
Sure have. He said he needed that folder urgently. Luckily, his number was on it.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We'll walk you out. It's beautiful.
Oh, he's wearing the same things he was in there.
But I didn't trust him. No wonder he's mad.
I mean,
I've never seen him so torn up before.
Thank you.
he overreacted a bit, but
You overreacted a bit, but I like the fact that they're
Before he overheated.
handling this
That's why the water didn't flow.
as, you know,
Yeah.
they're not trying to make this a both sides are equally wrong situation.
yeah.
Yes, he's overreacting, but also, you don't go through someone else's phone!
Yeah, yeah. It is, however, one of those situations where the initial thing, he could have said, I accidentally left it at the bus stop, and
He was a bit cagey.
the fact that he was so cagey didn't help.
When she said, you know, why you don't have a present, it's like, I had a present, but I left it behind when I got in the taxi, and I'm actually texting with the person who picked it up, and I'll get it back to you soon.
I was so close.
But
But his friends interfered.
it became more than a simple understanding when someone decided to go through somebody else's phone.
Yeah.
But no buts.
Thank you, Master Fox.
I mean, teamwork is a valid strategy.
Blaze is up for the task.
Yeah, Blaze, you haven't done anything in a while, really. Like,
should
you
get
were
out
in grid connection, but he like left you in charge of fighting the Rangers, and they destroyed you in like 3 seconds.
Way too fast.
So what's
We're just walking around the woods being angry. Which, honestly, if you can't keep your together at work, maybe going for a walk in the woods is not a bad idea.
that's fair.
But you know what? You can keep this.
He's all out of sorts.
I mean, the professional thing to do would be to keep your cool at work, but since apparently he's not capable of that due to his, like, ape situation.
Great. My two least favorite bots.
I like the two people just sort of just walking casually behind him. Well, there's like evil villains telling him.
Robbie was unaware of who this Stacy was despite meeting her. I mean, he knew that Stacy was the person who picked up his folder.
Right. He's very sleepy.
That much he knew. Because I'm sure she texted with, hey, I've got your portfolio.
Right.
Whether or not he still knew it was the old lady, because she never did say that. He knew Stacy was the person with the folder. That's who he was to her.
Commander, have you found Robbie?
Maybe. We received reports of an attack in Heartland Nature Park. Seems like Robo Roxy may have found Robbie again.
The nature park? That's on the other side of the city.
Robbie needs us. Let's go. Cruise. Can you see him?
Well, he has to have known she was the person with the folder,
Oh no.
Yeah.
Activate face now.
since he was texting with her when he walked in.
Yeah.
Hold on, Robbie. We're coming.
And I very much doubt she didn't lead with, you know, because she's a strange number texting someone. Hi, I got this number off a folder you left behind on
Yeah.
the bench. Do you want the folder back?
But, yeah,
He may or may not have known it was a little old lady, but he did know it was someone who retrieved his folder.
I mean, he had already been, he knew that it was on the way. So he must have been part of the conversation before then. Hey, Cruz. maybe it wasn't the best idea for you to join in.
Cruz maybe have still had a weapon if he was going to show up here.
Yeah.
Give him that gun thing. Was there a reason he
There
had
we
the
go.
gun thing?
It's good to see Roboblaze putting up a little bit of a fight, because he's done very little fight-wise this season.
And honestly, he should be every bit as formidable as Robo Roxy.
Well, not
At least when Robo Roxy is not in her like
Yeah, she's got her
extra
plan.
flower power form. But he's not even. Yeah, he's not even putting up as much of a fight as she does when she's just purple Robo Roxy.
Roboblaze and Robo Roxy, for most of the season, have not been much of a threat. Although it is nice that Robo Roxy has stepped up her game for these 2 episodes.
You've always been pathetic, Blue. This ends now. Try me.
And yes, kid, we do know that that it is just player 3, not 3 and 4. We've known for a while.
Yeah, by the time you can see on the outside, you know about these things.
Yeah.
And if we couldn't see on the outside, I wouldn't need these special
Turning
shirts.
your back on me?
They're longer than regular ones. You get elastics on the side.
Yeah.
And really big necks for some reason. Why?
Oof.
Well, that ought to cool them down a little.
A little bit. It's interesting that they swapped around the fights in this episode. The if I recall correctly, in the original, oh, he's got the spin saber. Oh, we've got some original fighting going on right now here. But
He was spinning it so hard it was like he was flying with it.
yeah, well, that's kind of how that thing works. Oof, and she's gone.
Robbie, you really need to cool down.
Yeah. But yeah, that in the original source footage, the dive off the bridge into the river was what led to the beach. So it's interesting that they sort of swapped around the order of those scenes.
How'd they get him to demorph?
Robbie's still overheated. We gotta get
I'm not
something
sure.
to cool him down. Quick, come on.
Oh, you're
Go
gonna
get
do
some
something
ice or
wacky.
something. Oh, got a fire extinguisher? Those are pretty cold.
Aye. Okay.
She
Robbie,
needs
I'm
to
sorry.
apologize.
To apologize.
Here we go.
I was wrong to think I couldn't trust you.
No.
I'm such a fool. I met Stacy and she brought this. Your gift. For me.
Oh.
I love this painting.
And I love you,
No.
Roxy, and I love you.
You mean a lot to me.
No.
Please, Robbie. Please forgive me.
She not allowed to say I love you?
Well, we're not.
No,
gonna
by
get proper
not
person.
allowed, I mean like by the same people who don't let them.
I'm not sure, actually.
She said, I love this painting and you mean a lot to me.
And I'm sorry too.
Wait, I love you,
No.
this painting, and I love you.
Aw. And the cool down, the whole cool down session.
Yeah.
There we go. Hugs.
No Robotron or Zord fight today, that is correct.
Yeah.
Oh no. Now they're gonna cover him nice.
Ah. And that's the end. A little bit of a wacky ending there at the very last moment.
It's Pokemon Sun and Moon.
But overall, pretty sweet. It was so nice to see Roxy again.
Yeah. Like, and I think we mentioned before that it was like kind of made sense that we don't see Blaze because he doesn't have much connecting in there anymore, but the lack of Roxy was
It
kinda
had been
weird.
a while. It had been like 12 episodes.
like, for all we know, like he's not dating any of them. He could have gone and got a job and moved out of the city.
Yeah.
But Roxy, you expect to be around because she's still with Robbie.
It's been 14 episodes, I think, since we.
Oh wow! The best Ben and Betty zinger ever. It was a pretty good ending.
It's been actually, I think it was 50. Yeah, she was only in the first 2 episodes, and this is like the 15th episode. But also, we had the 2 bonus episodes.
They didn't flub the Aesop this time. Which is a problem that they've had for a couple of seasons now, where they kind of, like, they aim for a good Aesop and then they miss the mark in weird ways.
Like, it basically, the overall lesson was don't go snooping through phones.
And making assumptions.
Yeah.
Like, when you're in love with somebody, trust them.
There is a certain level of respect for trust and privacy. I mean, he was being cagey, but...
Oh, that's right. Blaze works at the gym. So
yeah.
they should have seen him a bit more, because they're always there at the juice bar.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what happened with Blaze. But yeah, it was fairly... It felt fairly middle of the road. It felt like the emotions were heightened in ways deliberately to try and match it up with the plot they were going for. Yeah. But didn't quite feel fully natural. It was very much one of those situations where Robbie had to be acting a specific way to get Roxy to look at his phone, which then had to lead to him being incredibly angry about it. And then it just kind of fed off that for the
Robbie
whole thing.
went ape.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's the implication of the title.
But I don't know, it was one of those things where Roxy was definitively in the wrong with regards to what she did.
Absolutely. As I keep
But Robbie's behavior was also
weird.
Yeah, that was the thing that didn't quite feel right to me, was Robbie's behavior prior to the, having the excuse of the overheating.
Yeah.
It did feel like
when she was asking where her gift was, and he was like, I'll get it. Like, he could have very easily said, I had it with me before I got in the taxi to get here. I left it on a bench, and I'm texting with someone to get it back. I will have it for you later.
And you know what? Roach History raises a good point. This is the second time in her, in
very few
episodes this season where she's done something without the permission of a loved one.
Yeah, didn't she impersonate her aunt?
She claimed that her aunt
approved of something
had
that she didn't.
approved of something that she hadn't.
Roxy cannot be trusted.
Yeah, Roxy, regular Roxy, apparently
cannot be trusted.
Yeah, she's got some serious boundary
problems.
That kind of, it's good that they kind of addressed that today. Would have been nice if it was addressed a little bit more in the context of the previous action.
Yeah, because it took the chat to point out the previous action to us.
Yeah. I mean, that does sort of inform Robo-Roxy's character as well. Which, Athena raises a good point there.
Meet the new chat computer.
Yes. Because I traded out my work computer from last year for a new work computer, because it's new school year.
Because Jake's home computer is a desktop. And my home computer is streaming.
But yeah, one of the tricky things I find...
That's where Robo-Roxy gets it from. Yeah, apparently.
With a number of things where emotions tend to run high in these episodes is just that they do have some trouble making it happen organically. They recognize, okay, this needs to happen in order for this to happen in order for us to get there, which, that is rational, logical thinking. That is sort of how you structure an episode, how you structure a script. But you need to make sure that the inciting incident is organic and does
Yes.
feel natural. He was overly dodgy and defensive in the initial moments. Ben and Betty also
Absolutely, Almond.
didn't exactly help things by just like taking away
the.
like it was intended to be funny. It was kind of.
It was also.
It's like,
ow.
guys, that's harsh. You're like you are throwing. You're just kind of throwing fuel on the fire right here. Like when.
Yeah. It's like, ouch, guys. Can you not?
When you see that like a boyfriend has screwed something up, it's not your job to exacerbate the conflict. When there's a conflict between two people in a relationship, that is not something that you should be, like, trying to make work.
And yes, as Mr. Almond is pointing out, Ravi was betrayed.
Yeah.
His trust was betrayed, and she made a baseless accusation.
Yeah.
It's not... The show has given us no indication that he's had a history of cheating in the past, so that
Right.
she jumped to that immediately was not cool. Especially since, by the way, think about it this way. She scrolled all the way to the beginning of those messages. Which means she has to have known that he has not been talking to this Stacy person for more than an hour.
Now,
Unless he was in that taxi for a very long time.
Now, to be fair, she might not have been looking at the time codes. She was, there are certain things where I'm like, okay, I understand the assumptions that she made based off of what she saw. Like, that was, in many regards, a somewhat reasonable assumption to kind of jump to. It was just the action that she took was not an appropriate action. Like, she knows that, like, the way that the texts were phrased, you know how to treat a lady. I love the painting that you...
This painting will make is a lovely gift.
This painting is a lovely gift.
But actually, if she says the painting is a lovely gift, then that means that, because he never said anything about gifts.
Right.
In the conversation with the old lady out loud.
No, he said that it was a gift for his girlfriend.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So she knew. So those elements actually worked quite well in that because you need to be precise with those sorts of misunderstanding within a story kind of text.
And somebody who wrote the text was good. Yeah, if they did actually plug the whole "it's a gift for my girlfriend" thing earlier, which I did not
which they did during the conversation on the bench.
Reminds me of Dear John Letter in a modern Bugs Bunny cartoon.
A little bit. Okay. I haven't seen the modern Bugs Bunny, but I can imagine the gist of it there.
Tone is hard to get across in text.
Right. So it is actually a...
But the thing that galls me is that, as far as I can tell, she actually did go back to the beginning.
Right.
Which means, how do you not look at the time code and see that this were all from today?
It was only a moment. I can, you know what?
She was in a rush because she wasn't supposed to be looking at his phone.
It happened quickly enough, and the focus that she had was on the words rather than the additional information.
Yeah, now that you pointed out, yeah, she needed to put the phone back down because she was trying to hide the fact that she was going through his phone. But then she wasn't trying to hide it anymore.
Yeah.
And it was like...
She wanted to immediately confront him. Like, it was definitely a scenario where that all worked. It was more so that I felt like there needed to be an additional level of reasonable suspicious behavior. He was engaging in...
he was engaging in unreasonable suspicious behavior.
Yeah.
Because his caginess about the present and not just saying, I left it when I got in the taxi and I'm arranging to get it back.
That was one of those sort of things where it was very close. Like
his behavior after she accused him totally makes sense.
Right.
His behavior before she accused him was a little bit weird.
And even his behavior after she accused him was somewhat excessive, I would say.
Well, see, I mean, if we go back in this, you'll see that I said, but you shouldn't have to. And then he said, but I shouldn't have to.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Because he shouldn't have to.
But at the same time, he knows why why she would be upset if she saw that, and he knows that she was already upset over the gift. So that knowledge that he has, while I can absolutely understand him being upset, upset in a way that makes him want to actively fight her physical representation of her, feels excessive. And that feels like a warning sign as far as Ravi's issues.
I mean, you guys gotta understand, we regularly forget to get gifts for one another.
Yes.
So
we're bad on timing.
We're bad on timing. And
Yes.
it's always the same thing. It's like, no, I remembered, but I remembered too late, and it's still in the mail.
Yeah, usually things like that. Reasonable things. Yeah.
And so, we know that he could have definitely handled it better when she's like, where is my gift? It's like, there's a perfectly good explanation for that.
And I do feel like I
But
want
instead he
to...
got all cagey about it.
I want to highlight that right now, as I was saying earlier when people were asking me about Dino Fury, I feel like the writers have continued to develop. Specifically, Becca and Owen are those key writers, and they've been continuing to build upon their skills. And we're starting to get almost into that little... You know how the uncanny valley works, where things are almost right on point, but because they're just a little bit off, it draws your attention a little bit more? We're right around at that zone in terms of the writing, where a lot of this episode was structured very well, but there were just little tweaks that could have been just adjusted slightly to make it just all flow together smoothly.
I don't... Yeah, sorry. The chat is... Chris Taylor says that he feels like Ravi was being emotionally abusive.
Now, I don't think that he...
I don't think it rises to abuse.
Because he didn't...
Obviously, yes, his, like, flipping out,
His
scheming...
his private reaction was excessive.
Way over the top.
But I wouldn't call it emotional abuse because, for the simple reason that it was not...
Roxy wasn't present.
Yeah, it wasn't action that he was inflicting upon Roxy. It wasn't... It was a private expression of things. It does convey the potential for that, if that is the instinctual reaction.
But having the sense to remove yourself from the situation, so you're not inflicting that upon your partner, is what differentiates that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, he certainly wound up taking it out on Robo-Roxy.
Like, it definitely indicates some anger issues that we haven't really...
I think he definitely has some anger issues that are canonically established. That's his weakness.
Yes, but it's more so that his anger issues were always related specifically to his powers. Whereas this is the first time we've seen it
that's true.
as an innate property.
It was like it was and it wasn't at the same time, because although it was...
It was for that early scene.
Although it was his anger issues not being necessarily related to his power set, it was having an effect that was measurably similar to his power set problem. Because remember, Nate said his temperature was still up.
Yes, his
So it was like they were synergizing.
Yeah, his agitation...
His agitation was actually triggering
kept
his own... his power-related issue in some way, because it was raising his temperature, which indicates that there was at least some involvement from the power set issue.
I think that...
If his temperature had been normal, if Nate had said, I don't understand why you're like this, your temperature is normal, that to me would have indicated it was entirely
but no, it was that his emotions were impacting how his weakness operates.
Yeah.
I think that it could have worked a little bit better if, sort of, pardon the pun here, if he had been on a little bit more of a slow boil. If they hadn't had him be quite so quite so angry during the beach scene, but then had the beach scene, be the trigger for his powers, that then carried over to him being so angry in the following scene. Because he did get more angry after that, but he was already pretty up there for his character.
Yeah.
If it had been a little bit more of a sullen anger, I think that would have played better. Where he was ready to be angry, but he was still in control of himself until he got the actual agitation from the representation of Roxy. And I think that should have been what got him to...
Robo-Roxy needling him about his situation
Yeah.
just made it that much worse.
Yes. That is what happened. It was just that I think if he had started from a little bit lower...
was a little...
Then I wouldn't say the ordering so much as the
Pacing?
extent.
Yeah,
He went from here up to here up to here, whereas I think if it had gone more of an exponential curve, it was a little bit more of a logarithmic curve than an exponential curve.
She was with Ben and Betty.
Yeah.
So I think Ben and Betty were her escorts.
Yes.
Stacy being inside Grid Battle Force.
Oh yes, they had walked her in.
I mean, I don't know if I trust Ben and Betty with that, but it seems like they trust Ben and Betty with a lot of things like that. So Ben and Betty were considered a valid escort group for.
Oh, okay. Now I see the question that you're addressing. Yeah, no, it's perfectly reasonable. It's like, hey, I'm here to drop this off for this person.
Especially if they saw it was in the folder.
Exactly.
If she opened the folder and said, "Oh, that's Robbie and Roxy. She's legit."
Yeah.
Yeah, this is actually Robbie's possession.
That said that we have had mind control and shapeshifters and that sort of thing happens. But,
yeah. You should be a little bit more careful about potentially bringing a Trojan horse into the organization.
But that was one where
they keep doing it anyway, so that's consistent with their security flaws.
That was one of those things where I'll for the sake of the story, I can hand wave that through.
But yeah, I think Athena also has a decent point in that he might not know how to deal with his anger very well because he was raised very strictly and, repressed.
Yes, he is very repressed. Which is why
he had to hide his art for so long.
Which is why I actually feel like it would have been...
The sullen thing
it would have been more in character.
More in character. To be, like...
It does feel like that aspect of it was a little bit more of...
Sulky, sullen anger at the start that boils over.
So the more I think about it, that part was a little bit less, I would say, a writing issue than it was a performance issue. I feel like what they were aiming for could have
Assuming the stage directions didn't tell him to be explosive from the start. I agree.
Right. And so that's just... I know that we're, like, being so nitpicky on this episode, but it was actually really solid. Which is just...
It was probably one of the better episodes, like, character-wise, in the second half of, so far.
It looked at...
Obviously, there have been some standouts with the continuity nods.
Yeah.
But as far as, like, character-focused episodes, this may be the strongest one in the second half.
I like that they explored sort of that tension that exists within couples, because it is a thing.
It is.
And
especially when that's the thing, is that I forget to get you things, you forget to get me things, but that works out to some degree because we both have that flaw. Roxy clearly does not have that flaw, so it's harder for her to empathize with that flaw. She went out, got this engraved thing, listed Ben and Betty.
Right.
So she's sitting here feeling like I put so much effort into this.
And that's why he should have made more of an effort initially to mitigate that.
And that's why he really needed to say, look, I had the present at the taxi, and then I left it.
Yeah.
I'm getting it back. But I had it in my hands.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one of those things where that scene that sort of triggered everything, I feel like a few little adjustments could have been made to just make it flow a little bit better.
Like, I don't know, maybe something could have interrupted his explanation instead of his explanation being so terrible.
Yeah, exactly. We needed to see... I think what we needed was...
Like Ben and Betty's arrival. They could have started with the trumpets or something, and then, he had an explanation, but he couldn't explain because trumpets.
I think he needed one more organic
so close
screw
to
up.
The finale, are we?
We've got 5 episodes left. But I think sort of rule of three, like, he forgot the gift, and he was dodgy, and he was getting a lot of texts, but it's more so that he forgot the gift, he was getting a lot of texts, and he was being dodgy about those two things. If there was a third thing going on in that scene, I'm not sure exactly what, but just something that would have made
Old lady perfume?
um
I mean, she was a touchy-feely old lady, so maybe she hugged him and he smelled like
Yeah.
roses or something, and she's like, that's not my perfume.
something like that. You know what? That would have been, I think, quite reasonable. Something where
That's why I said old lady perfume.
yeah, just something like, you know,
You don't
you know,
smell right, Robbie.
something like, you know, maybe she had been, like, let's say, reading a magazine or something, and she did this, and then it's like, oh, and you have such a nice collar.
Now
And
there's
that-
lipstick on his collar.
Something like that. Just some little extra thing to make
Or
her.
worse, you've got a little schwitz on your face.
That I think wouldn't have quite played so much, because you notice it at that point if you.
Little schmutz on your face.
Yeah.
Near the lips.
Oh yeah, I know, but if you're wiping away someone's schmutz, you're gonna notice if you've just put something on there. Whereas if you're just like grabbing a collar, it's like, oh, that's nice, and then you're not focused on.
But I would expect Ravi to see it on his collar and not on his face.
You know, you don't really look at your. It depends on where you grab the collar. If you grab the collar like here,
Thank you, Darren.
pretty good. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for the congratulations. So yeah.
It's the shirt.
So yeah, I think that those little elements, combined with probably a little bit more distinctive motivation from Robo-Roxy, I feel like those little elements could have really made this episode strong. As opposed to it being, I think, a pretty solid middle-of-the-road episode with some good ideas in terms of tapping into some genuine emotional honesty. It just didn't quite hit it. So that's sort of been my approach to these as of late. It's really been
A lot of nitpicking because otherwise they're
Yeah.
they're structurally quite sound. They just have a few aesthetic flaws.
I think getting more and more
Cosmetic flaws.
I think
Yes.
getting more and more into the like constructive criticism critiques as of late. Versus like really.
What was that all about? But
Yeah, we're not
giving us a lot of.
Yeah, we're not like tearing into these episodes in.
They're not that
in a-
tear-intuable.
They've been solid. This has been solid Power Rangers.
Yeah, they have a few cosmetic flaws, but they run real well. You know what I'm saying?
And they haven't been, you know, like, for the most part they haven't been super amazing episodes, but they've been solid episodes in a way that is good. we want to see more solid episodes in Power Rangers than what we had been seeing for the majority of the 2010s.
Yes, sure, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, there was some good fight scenes between Robo-Roxy and Ravi. I loved those fight scenes back in the original episode, and it was good to see them again.
It was.
I look forward to seeing how this arc continues and how what our end game for the series is going to be. It did feel a little bit on the thin side, which I think could have been fleshed out, which I think could have been helped by fleshing out that early scene.
What do you mean by thin?
Just that there was very little by way of the conflicts driving the episode were not particularly complex in certain regards. It was
simplistic.
the entire issue between Ravi and Roxy was established in an early scene, and nothing happened to further drive that conflict between them.
No.
It was just that thing from the first,
Just stayed on.
from the first half of the first act, was the thing that triggered everything, and there were no further complications. The threat from the villains was Robo-Roxy wants to fight Ravi. there was no more.
Why did Robobuxy want to fight Ravi specifically? Eventually, she's just like, I don't care which one of you I defeat.
I may need to double check. Maybe she made mention of the anniversary in her first scene, but I'm not sure. I would need to double check because she's always kind of had it out for Ravi.
Specifically because of
the relationship. With the past season. It was really more highlighted the past season than it was this season. But there was no real complexity to the villain's plans in this case. It was just, I want to go down there and fight that guy. That didn't work out. Hey, can you fight the other guys while I fight this guy? And that didn't work out either. The end. So that's what I mean by it was a little thing.
Okay. How many humorous shirts? I own 3 so far.
Yes.
But the other one has the humor on the bump, which doesn't really make it conducive to this format.
Yeah, we'll show it off at the beginning
here.
of the next one. But yeah, which I think is why I was so focused on the emotional conflict itself and how it could have been better executed, because it was the story. It was basically that emotional conflict was not like just one of the different plots. That was the plot. So it really when you have things down to a single plot in that way, you really do need to really nail it strongly.
Yes.
Whereas if you have an A, B, and C plot, okay, well, it's all right if this one is not super fleshed out because we also had this thing and that thing going on, and those were also fun.
The B plot was. It's kind of like Grey 17 is missing.
Yeah. You have
The A plot was.
Yeah, I know. But
But thank goodness for the B plot.
That's a reference to Babylon 5 in case you were wondering. It's good to hear that Kira Major has been solid. A lot of people have been saying that Kira Major is good.
I mean, we'll probably watch it eventually, but we
Yeah.
might not live react to it.
As I've been saying, as I said last week, I am still
Jake
open
might
to.
Do a...
I'm open to the idea of like a weekend charity live stream where I just watch all of a series.
But that would just be Jake. Because
that would just be me.
I am either going to be dealing with this bun in the oven.
Yeah.
Also, I work on weekends. Or B, dealing with the child while he does that.
but that would be like, I would want to do that as a charity event, and I would want to.
You're not staying online that long.
It's a big commitment to do. So I would want to do it as a charity event, and I would want to make sure that there's an audience for it. I want to make sure that there's enough people who would be up for doing that. And yeah, so if you guys are interested in seeing me do
was pretty
a weekend sort of binge stream of analyzing a Toku series in its entirety, I'm open to that, but I want to make sure that there is a demand for it before I go for it. So
obviously, if it was going to be Kira Major, you'd have to wait until Kira Major was over.
Yeah. So feel free to comment down below to let me know where you guys are feeling on that. And for reference, like, one charity that I'd really like to try and raise money for is legal fees for to restore voting rights to former felons in Florida. Like, I feel like
if you were going to do that one, you'd want to do it soon, though.
That's something I would want to do soon if I were to do that.
So probably not Kira Major then.
Because these people were legally granted their voting rights through a ballot measure, and those voting rights have been denied through loophole.
It says that they need to pay back all the fees for their trials.
And that's a lot of money for people to raise. And it is something that, could impact an election significantly.
We're very passionate about voting rights in this house.
Yes, absolutely.
Everyone who can vote should vote, and everyone who is an adult over the age of 18 should be voting, unless, there are extraneous circumstances, of which I'm not going to get into details, but having done your time and gotten your voting rights back by the laws of the state you live in, you should be able to vote.
Exactly.
which is the case with this particular charity. They're helping people whose government decided that they would have their rights back, but
I will likely be
Ask
doing a few videos,
money.
on voting.
Favorite Beast Morphers
In the next
episode?
after 90 is done. Favorite Beast Morphers episode? That is a good question.
I kind of like the one where Nate and Zoe spilled soup on each other while they were trying to kiss.
That was very cute. The cameo by Dr. K episode was quite good.
That was very good, yes.
We also enjoyed, what was it, Rewriting History, where with Spot the Plant. That was a great episode.
Spot the plant.
So there been a handful.
Are we voting in mail or in person?
We're looking into, I think early voting is probably
I
how we're
believe
going to
our
go.
area has early voting, so
Check to see if your area has early voting, because it's going to be tough to get votes in. And early voting is a great way to make sure that you don't need to worry about concerns with the post office or with your ballot places.
yeah, like, we're all for mail-in voting, but also the post office has been kind of weird.
Yeah.
So if we can take advantage of early voting in our area so that we can vote on a day that hopefully not a lot of other people are voting, so we can avoid too many people,
Exactly.
that would be the
And
ideal.
we're fortunate in that our polling place has never been a particularly crowded location, but I know that a lot of people don't have those same benefits. So, by all means, especially if you live in an urban area, if there's early voting available in your area, absolutely take advantage of it. So that's our little, sort of end of episode Power PSA
Yeah.
for this week.
If your area has early voting and it's not mobbed, that's a great time to try and vote without, potentially being stuck in a mob of people during a pandemic.
Yeah. So I'm going to try and, probably before the end of the month, do a video just
voting
on
was easy for us before the pandemic, but it still isn't for everyone.
important information for voting. I know I did something like that 2 years ago. Vote.org, you can check your registration information. I want to do some research on, deadlines for different states, things like that, and really make sure that everybody has the information they need to have, because it is important. Especially with...
And not just the presidential
current state of
election.
things.
Vote in your local elections as well.
Yes, there are a lot of really
Everything
close...
starts at the local level.
Really close Senate races as well.
Even your, local referendums and school boards and stuff. Everything starts at the local level and moves its way up.
Yep.
Everything on the ballot matters, not just the stuff near the top.
Yeah, basically anyone who is currently in a major... Well, not anyone. Many of the people who are currently in significant... with significant levels of power within the government had to have started
held lower
at the local
offices
level.
first.
Yeah. So keep an eye on who is going into your local offices, because one day they could
They may be running for something higher and higher and higher.
And
your local
it's
council
good to
person
be
could become
informed
your
on who they
mayor,
are.
could become your governor, could become your president.
You never know. So
and yes, Election Day should be a federal holiday.
I agree. Absolutely.
Because we all need to vote.
Yes. If there were a day that everyone should... Oh, I totally understand the anxiety. Trust me, I understand the anxiety.
Rotisserie's gone back to school as well.
Yep. I know I'm going to be teaching next week, and I'm very curious to see how long that remains in person. We are taking a lot of good measures at my school, and we are in a state that does have... that has been taking good measures overall. There have been obvious issues, especially early on, because New York was the first state to really get hit hard.
Have we heard of the
I'm
new
hopeful.
Kamen Rider series, Saber?
Yes, Kamen Rider Saber. I'm looking forward to checking it out. I did just finish Kamen Rider 01. I was in I just recorded a podcast with our friend the Vacuuminator. So keep an eye open for that. I'll make sure to retweet it. Where we just sort of talked about...
Oh, that was pre-recorded?
Yep, we were.
Okay.
That was. It wasn't a stream.
That wasn't
it was
live. Okay.
No, it was podcast, recording podcast. So that should be probably posted to YouTube in the next week or so. I'm not sure. But in the meantime, enjoy the rest of the viewing globe.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that you guys are really getting to see some great creators there. And I think that
Oh!
it might be time to wrap things up.
Just one last thing.
Yep.
Athena says that Kamala is her local representative.
Oh, really? Oh, interesting.
So, since we were mentioning the
Hey.
thing about the local, people going up and up and up.
Yeah,
that means Kamala came up in Athena's area.
Yeah. And she's been one of the out of the
And now
people.
she's vice president nominee.
Yeah, out of the people in Congress in the Senate, she's been a really solid voice overall. As with any politician, there's always flaws, but probably one of the strongest.
Just comparative to the other senators.
Yes. But within compared to her colleagues and compared to a lot of other people, she's very strong, and every politician is flawed, so you need to just sort of weigh the good with the bad and compare them to each other. You have limited choices when it comes to a ballot, and you need to choose whichever is closest to representing your values.
Jacob!
What's that?
Apparently, some people in the Viewing Globe chat have been saying your questions are too easy.
I gave a mix of questions, I will say, and I will say for the questions that are outside of my realm of personal knowledge, I did go a little easier, and part of that was because I wanted a variety of difficulty levels. I know that, for instance, my first two questions, people had a very difficult time answering yesterday. So it's been a mix, and it will continue to be a mix. But that is the reason that some people might find some questions easy. I don't think anyone finds all the questions easy. I'd be surprised on that front. But I don't think, I think that everyone should be able to answer a few of the questions, and no one will likely be able to answer all of the questions.
That's what they said about you.
Yeah.
For the very first trivia contest, no one will answer all the questions correctly. And then you did.
Well,
Someone out there still might do it.
That's fair. That's fair. At the very least, I haven't seen, in keeping an eye on the chat, I haven't seen people
some people
getting
just
everything.
aren't guessing.
That's also true. People need to guess
Guess
more
more.
in the trivia questions. But yeah. I know I tried to wrap it up a couple times.
Okay,
and
so
we had a few different topics.
Sorry.
But,
chat keeps distracting.
Yes. Our wrap-up phrases, we had our introductory phrases. Let's wrap up with our three other non-controversial phrases, or at the very least, they should be considered as such.
Yes.
Number 1, love is love. Number 2, trans rights are human rights. And number 3, robots are cool.
Now, if only robots could actually cool you off.
Well, I mean, Smash's counterpart was always carrying around ice packs.
Smash wasn't, though. What's up with that?
He needs more ice packs.
He needs more ice packs.
All right, thank you, chat, for joining us on that, and for joining us for this this evening with such steep competition up against the
Seriously,
Sidarso brothers.
I was kind of expecting everyone to
who
be watching the Sidarsos.
I think
so
may
thank
have
you
been
guys for being here.
reacting to Dimensions in Danger. I'm not sure.
Wow.
So thank you
So
for
those
joining
of
us
you who chose to join us,
as we took a
thank
look
you.
at a different Blue Ranger. And until next time, farewell, Ranger fans, and let the power protect you.
Vote, vote, America. Oh, they're watching the Poisey show.